All right, you're looking live at a border crossing in McAllen, Texas right now. That gate is open. It's not always open, but it just shows you that these wall issues that come up, and as you know, President Biden has stopped further wall building along the border. But all of this occurs at the same time. He has also put a halt to deportations and said that there's got to be a more logical way to treat the migrant minors who have come into this country, setting that up at a facility, probably at a U.S. military base in Virginia. But the backdrop of that is 100,000 migrants who have been reported at the border in the month of February. We haven't seen a number that high in a number of years. Lucas Tomlinson following this very heated debate because it's heating up all over again in Washington. Lucas.
That's right, Neil. Border agents detained, as you mentioned, nearly 100,000 migrants at the southern border last month, the highest total in nearly 2 years. The number of migrants coming to the border spiked 28% last month compared to January. These numbers were first reported by Reuters ahead of an expected report next week by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Those are the highest numbers from the month of February since 2006 and a sign of the potential wave of migrants coming this spring and summer. This comes as President Biden wants to repeal many of President Trump's border policies, which the White House calls inhumane. The surge in migrant children arriving at the border without parents has sent the U.S. government scrambling to come up with a solution. Late this week, the Department of Health and Human Services visited a U.S. military base outside Richmond as a possible place to put the children. I asked Pentagon Post spokesman John Kirby if the defense secretary supports this move.
The secretary was supportive of having HHS visit Fort Lee to examine and to do a site survey. And if there is a need, and right now there isn't one, there's no request, but if there's one, the secretary is fully committed to making sure that that request gets a full airing here at the Pentagon and that we make the best decisions we can.
And does he support the name of the base being changed before any potential migrant?
As you know, there's a base naming commission at work. He named 4 commissioners to it. That they have started to have their initial deliberations.
The base is named for General Robert E. Lee. It's not clear why it was chosen as a possible destination, Neil.
All right, thank you, my friend, very, very much. Lucas Tomlinson following all of that. A guy in the middle of all of this, David Hathaway, the Santa Cruz County, Arizona sheriff. Sheriff, thank you for taking the time. This has been a busy week for you, and obviously the worries are building that whether it's coincidence or not, the migrant issue is a big one, and the biggest it's been right now in a couple of years. Where do you think this is going, Sheriff?
Yeah, greetings, Neil, from beautiful Santa Cruz County, Arizona. I'm standing right now here on a spot where several John Wayne movie blockbusters were filmed, Red River and McClintock. But yeah, back to the topic of the day. This has been surprisingly, I know way more about this than I should. I've talked to all the Border Patrol chiefs in this area. In this county, we have the biggest Border Patrol office in the nation. We also have the 3rd biggest Border Patrol office in the nation. I've talked to all the management, and they've reached out to me and discussed where is this going. They're operating under their 100-day interim guidance from the Biden administration, and their policies aren't fully fleshed out yet. But what we know for sure right now is if somebody sets foot in the United States illegally and they say the word asylum, then they are put in the queue for a hearing down the road sometime, maybe 7 months, 3 years, 5 years, depending on the size of the queue. There's already thousands of people in line. They're given a piece of paper and released into the community. The Border Patrol officials have asked me, Sheriff, where do you want us to turn these people loose in your county? Do you want us to turn them loose in an urban area, in a rural area? Do you want to take them from us? And obviously, I can't take a position on that because that would be liability for me if I say turn them loose in this city, turn them loose in this rural area, or I can't send a detention van to pick them up because at that point, they've basically been released on their own recognizance by the federal officials. So that would be liability for me of, that I would be purportedly unlawfully detaining somebody. So at this point, it's kind of wait and see. I've talked to a lot of local civic groups about this. I just was the keynote speaker for the Constitutional Conservatives of Southern Arizona. They meet here in a little church that's about a quarter mile from where I'm standing. And they have these same a wide array of questions like, what's the status of these people that are being released right outside the front door of the Border Patrol station? There's a Border Patrol station 200 yards from where I'm standing. They're being released right out the front door. And there's not really clarity. Do they have the authority to work? Do they have the authority to go to school? What's their status? All they've been told is check in on an internet portal to find out the status of your future hearing, and there's no specific hearing dates being given. But on the other side of the coin, we do value our relationship with Mexico in this county. We have the biggest ports of entry of any county in Arizona with Mexico. We have sister cities. We have Nogales, Arizona, and Nogales, Sonora, Mexico, cities that have the same name on both sides of the border. Our relationship with Mexico is very important. Mexicans they repatriate 40 cents out of every dollar that America sends to Mexico. You compare that with China, where only 4 cents of every dollar sent to China comes back to the U.S. So we do value our relationship with Mexico. They're very important to our economy.
It's interesting, Sheriff, because this policy right now that you have to follow, they want to seek asylum, that they got a piece of paper that shows a court date. Under the Trump administration, the policy was they would wait in Mexico. Now they're allowed to wait here. That used to be the policy pre-President Trump. Now I'm wondering how many then show up on that court date. You get figures all over the map, but we were hearing that very few do. What really happens?
Well, there is no tracking mechanism. It's basically an honor system. And the first ones in the queue are those thousands that were told to remain in Mexico. The process used to be, if they claimed asylum, they were released back into Mexico pending a court date. They were referred to an internet portal. They were told to check this frequently, and then you will see when your court date is coming up. Now, those are the first ones in the queue right now. Those are that queue will have to be dealt with first before the current asylum seekers that are being released into the U.S. before they're dealt with.
Do you think it is coincidence, or do you think maybe that wasn't his intention, that when President Biden had signaled that he wanted to put a halt, 100-day halt to deportations, that he wanted to stop building a wall, not another inch, as he said during the campaign and soon after his election, that this sort of galvanized migrants to come?
I don't know. On my part of the border right here, I don't see any buildup on the south side. I don't see waves of people coming across the north side. I do go to security meetings in Mexico regularly. I meet with the generals that are in charge of the military and the police commanders and the prosecutors at the state and federal level, to see what's happening on that side. And I need those connections in case I have like a kidnapping or a stolen vehicle on this side. I have those people to reach out to. And I haven't seen a buildup in this area. They do have the National Guard in Mexico, which is a legacy of a Trump program. Trump brokered that deal with the Mexican officials to use Mexican National Guard to actually deter waves of people from that are moving up through central Mexico to get to the border. So I haven't seen it in this area, but we're just standing by. Maybe in Texas they're seeing that sort of thing, but we're not seeing it here yet.
All right. It is stunningly beautiful behind you, Sheriff. Hopefully it stays that way. Sheriff David Hathaway, the Santa Cruz County, Arizona Sheriff. He's in the middle of all of this, just trying to deal with all of this. Then there is the unexpected development of a number of these migrants who've tested positive for COVID. Better than 100 of them. Now what? After this.